Dina. Now here's Weah. Weah just laying it back there to Belerde. He passes it on to his right to Pavard. Pavard just seeing a massed wall of red and black shirts in front of him, decides to go square. Marseille do eventually manage to get some forward thrust here, as on the edge of the box it's collected by Nandi. Nandi eventually dispossessed, but Marseille have it back through Højbjerg. He finds a good pass out to the right-hand side to Weah. Thinks about an early cross, but checks back a couple of yards outside the Nice penalty area. Højbjerg once again finding Weah, who does cross it in this time. Another teasing ball towards the back post. That's volleyed clear. Trying to pick it up on the edge of the box there was Timber, but he couldn't control, and now Nice come away. And surging forward here is Samed. He does well to lay it off to Sanson. And then Bar just playing it back to Opong. And now gathering in midfield is Samed. He combines with his midfield partner Boudaoui. Those two just exchanging passes once again. And the referee just bringing the game to a halt here. I think there's a bit of a problem here for Medina, it looks like. He's just gone down off the ball there. I'm not entirely sure what happened, I must admit. It's clearly a coming together with one of the Nice players. The referee just having a word here with El Yewahi, the man who scored both goals in that semi-final win at Strasbourg in midweek in the Coupe de France. Oh, and he's just flung out a left arm there, Wahi. Certainly, it was actually Belerde who went down in a heap. I'm sure the VAR will be looking at this. He could be in quite a lot of trouble here, El Yewahi, if he has actually struck Leonardo Belerde. Only seen the one replay so far, so it's hard to say for sure whether there was contact. He's certainly taking a bit of a gamble there, El Yewahi, man who joined on loan in January from Eintracht Frankfurt. Actually made his debut for the Ivory Coast last month, having racked up a really impressive record for the French youth teams over the years, declaring his allegiance to Ivory Coast as of last month. And the game now gets back underway, and it looks as though Yewahi is going to get away with that little coming together with Belerde, but that's certainly one to keep an eye on between those two. There's Marseille now, look to make their way down the left-hand side with Vermeeren. A little layoff from Aubameyang, who's come deep to link the play here. He lays it off to Pavard. Pavard thinks about finding Weah on the right-hand side, but instead goes inside to Belerde. Marseille's three centre-halves just combining nicely with Højbjerg now. Just making a bit of an angle for a pass out to the right, where it does eventually come to Timothy Weah. Now here goes Nadi now, driving towards the byline on the right-hand side. Tries to fire in a low cross. That's deflected behind off Melvin Bar. And Marseille going to have their first corner of the evening here. They've made a pretty strong start in this opening 12 minutes or so. Certainly don't look like a team who have lost 3 of their last 4 Ligue 1 games, which is the case for them. I've seen them slip down the table to 6th place. Can normally be relied upon to score at the Stade Velodrome. They've done so in 18 of the last 19 league games here. They'll look to open in their account here from this corner, from the right-hand side. In it goes, left-footed. Oh, and there was a chance there for Belerde. It's volleyed back into the 6-yard box. Oh, and Belerde knows he's had a big chance there as he jogs away. The ball was whipped in left-footed. It's come to him. He's taken a swing on the volley with his right foot, and he's had a bit of an air shot there as Belerde missed the ball altogether. It went past him and then actually deflected back his way, the Argentine, but in the end he couldn't steer it towards goal. And Nice happy in the end to settle for a goal kick, which Diouf now takes long, gets some pretty good distance on it, but Belerde is there to win the header. Got it down by Mendy. Aubameyang's attempted layoff is gathered in well by Boudaoui. And now here's Bar. He plays it back to Opong. Opong plays a slightly risky pass across the face of his own goal to Juma Bar, but gets away with it. Here's Klaus now. Then it's hit long there by Samed. And the ball bounces off a Marseille player and out of play for a throw into Nice as Claude Puel just pacing around in his technical area. Former Southampton and Leicester City manager, of course. He's had a bit of an up and down time as well, to be fair, since coming in December as Claude Puel. The fact that he's steered Nice to this Coupe de France final next month is a pretty big deal for him. He'll face Lens in that game. But he has only managed 2 Ligue 1 wins in 2026 so far. Admittedly, both of those have come in away games. Wins over Angers in March, and also going back to January, a 4-1 success against Nantes. As Marseille now are awarded a free kick. Left of centre. It's Quentin Timber who's just gone down under a pretty heavy challenge there. Didn't see exactly who made it, but the upshot is that Marseille will have a free kick. It's about 35 yards out. I think it was possibly Mendy who was penalised there. I'll have to confirm that shortly, but it's a decent position for Marseille. As I say, left of centre, probably between the edge of the Nice penalty area on the right-hand side as they're defending it, and the centre. And Højbjerg has placed the ball down. Close enough for a shot, but I feel as though they would favour a cross here. It would have to be a hell of a strike, you feel, to beat Diouf from this sort of range. It is, as I say, about 30 yards out. They've taken it short. They've tried to work something there, but it's not come off, and Nice looking to come away now. Wahi is in a foot race here, and Wahi has gone down. The referee says that the Marseille man played the ball. I couldn't see, I think it was Weah who was chasing him back, who slid in. Made a really critical defensive intervention there, Timothy Weah, because if he got that wrong, he would have been in huge trouble, because Wahi was steaming towards the ball. Would have been some Marseille hearts and mouths there, I'm sure, but so they've got away with it for now, and they're coming down the left side again here as it comes to Højbjerg, who tries to drill a ball over to the right-hand side to Weah. That's well dealt with by Bar, who plays a good pass inside to Opong. Opong goes down under a challenge. The referee ignores his protest, and then Bar, and just to pick out Mendy with a good pass. And now here's Jonathan Klaus, wide on the right-hand side for Nice. Still midway inside their own half, looking for ways out. Mendy finds Klaus, bit of a loose pass from Klaus, and Marseille have it back now. Here's Timber. He finds Nadi. And now it's worked over to the left-hand side to Palmieri. Marseille looking for options here. Medina gets the ball back to Nadi once more. Now here's Bellerdi. Thinks about a shot, takes a shot from fully 35 yards. That was never going to trouble Yvan Diouf. Pretty ambitious effort from Leonardo Bellerdi. Would have been his first Ligue 1 goal of the season, actually. And well, actually would have been his first Ligue 1 goal for over 2 years. Hasn't found the back of the net in league action since the 2-2 draw here against Monaco back in January 2024. Pop up with a goal in a 6-0 win over Bourg-en-Bresse in the Coupe de France 5th round back in December. Was never likely to trouble Diouf, as Nice now looking to make some headway down the left-hand side thanks to Melvin Bar. He's brought down by Timothy Weah, and he's going to have a free kick here for Nice. It's a decent position, actually. About 15 or so yards inside the Marseille half. It's quite tight to the touchline, but certainly in a decent enough position for floating one into the Marseille penalty area. And that would be pretty welcome for Nice, I would say, because we haven't seen too much ball in the Marseille half at all in these opening 18 minutes or so. There's the referee now, just placing the ball down. Free kick. It's going to be taken here So Jonathan Klaus is the man being afforded the responsibility. Here goes Klaus now. It's a good-looking ball, actually. It's volleyed up, but not entirely away by Marseille, and then Weah volleys it further clear, and it comes here to Vermeeren, who looks to try and skip away from a couple of Nice challenges, but in the end, they just had enough bodies back there, the visitors, to smuggle that one back to Diouf. And Diouf now just stands on the ball, waits for support, gets it there from Mendy, who flights the ball up into the middle of the park to Cho. He's bundled to the ground, and Mohamed Ali Cho wins himself a free kick. Challenge just a little bit too rugged there by Facundo Medina. And Nice now getting things back underway with Bar, who slides a little pass down the left-hand side to Sanson. He's met quickly by Højbjerg, who says that he's won a throw for himself off Morgan Sanson, but the referee disagrees. Melvin Bar takes this throw in now into the penalty area. Wahi tries to dummy the ball, but Bellerdi wasn't falling for that and just chested it down and hooked it away. But it's back with Mendy now for Nice, just inside his own half. Just the 8 passes in Marseille's half so far in this opening 20 minutes, would you believe, for Nice. That compares to 132 for Marseille, so that gives you an idea of how well Marseille have controlled territory so far in these early stages. And Marseille are going to have a throw-in now as well. Just another wasted long pass from Nice that's bobbled out of play. Marseille have a throw about 5 yards inside their own half, over on the left-hand side. It's going to be taken by Emerson, former West Ham United and Chelsea man, of course. He manages to get a pass away to Timothy Weah. Here's Weah now, heading towards the Nice penalty area, slides a little pass into the box, a little back heel by Aubameyang, cross towards the back post, it's flicked on. It's going to come here to Aubameyang, tries to combine with Timber, but weren't quite on the same wavelength there, and it's gathered by Højbjerg now. Midway inside the Nice half, Højbjerg plays it to his left to Bellerdi. Here's Timothy Weah once more, who's seen plenty of ball early on for Marseille. Bellerdi rolls it square to Vermeeren. Vermeeren, left-footed pass up to Timber. Oh, and he just tried to slide a little through ball into Aubameyang. Good defending by Nice to just block that one. And now here comes Jonathan Klaus with a bit of space in front of him down the right-hand side. Looking to take on Vermeeren, getting past Vermeeren. Klaus tries to play a little 1-2 there with Cho, but Vermeeren, credit to him, he stuck to his task and managed to win it back for Marseille. Here's Emerson now, tries to roll a pass in behind there, just looking for the run of Timber, but that was seen off well by Mendy, who finds a good pass infield to Samed. Here's Hisham Boudaoui now, skipping away from Højbjerg, and turning back and checking infield and finding El Yewahi. And now here's Oppong for Nice. Just look to slow things down for a moment. Oppong once again, receiving off Boudaoui. Here he is again now. Bar with a bit of a loose pass inside, but Wahi doing well to come back in and keep the move flowing for Nice. Here's Samed now. Really nice pass down the right-hand side towards Klaus. Here is Jonathan Klaus now. Low cross from him. Oh, and he's flashed it across the edge of the Marseille 6-yard box. It's going to be picked up by Bar over on the far side. He lays it back to Boudaoui. Whipped cross from him. Headed down and then flicked away by Weah. It's been picked up well, though, by Oppong for Nice. And now here's Mendy, just inside the Marseille half. Looking for support ahead of him. Doesn't have too many options, really, Antoine Mendy. So instead he has to go back to Juma Bar. He finds Oppong to his left. Oppong measures a pass into midfield to Sanson, but he's just crowded out by a combination of Højbjerg and Weah. And now here's Quentin Timber. Plays a pass up to Aubameyang, who immediately lays it off back to him. Those two combining once again. Aubameyang decides to go left in the end to Emerson. It's played inside to Nadi. Nice win it back though, although Højbjerg stepping in well to claim the ball back for Marseille, who have it about 10 yards or so inside the Nice half now. Pass is rolled up to Aubameyang, who immediately lays it back to Højbjerg. Here's Belerdi now, midway inside the Nice half. Nice just happy to sit in, making a bit of a 5-4-1 shape out of possession, it has to be said, with Sanson operating as a bit of a left midfielder with Cho on the right, and Wahi staying up top by himself. A bit more fluid when they do have the ball. Cho going up to join Wahi, and Sanson coming in field to make a 3 in the middle there alongside Boudaoui and Samed. And it is Nice who have themselves a throw-in now. Over on the right-hand side, just inside their own half, Klaus decides to leave it for Juma Bar. And now here's Oppong, surging forward, crossing the halfway line, then just checking back. Enough time to find Boudaoui. Wahi collects the ball back to goal, turns away from a challenge and goes down. Referee says, yep, that's a free kick to Nice here. Good piece of hold-up play by Elia Wahi. It's made a pretty good start to life at Nice as well since arriving from Eintracht Frankfurt. 6 goals in 14 games in all for him. That compares to just 1 in 14 games for Frankfurt in the first half of the season. He's on a bit of a barren streak in Ligue 1 though, as Elia Wahi. Scored 3 in his first 4 after arriving in the league, but he has 1 in his last 7. He's shown enough already to suggest he's going to be a bit of a problem for Marseille today if they give him space, as Klaus whips in the free kick now. That's a disappointing one by his standards, just bouncing all the way through to Geronimo Rulli. He was able to just roll the ball out, and now Marseille look to make their way down the right-hand side with Weah. Weah now tries to float a pass over to Aubameyang. It's gone over his head, but it's going to be picked up here by Emerson, who just lays it back to Timber. Timber playing a pass inside to Højbjerg, who does well to step away from a challenge, and he's gone down there as Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I think it was Wahi who just clipped his heels, coming back in there. Yeah, it was a nice little piece of play by Højbjerg to evade the attentions of Elia Wahi. And now Marseille have themselves a free kick in a pretty similar position to the one that they had before, where they wasted it really. It's again left of centre, again about 30 yards out or so. And this time it's Emerson Palmieri and Quentin Timber standing over the ball. One left footer, one right footer. Again, it's just about on the outer limits of where you could say a shot would come in, and indeed Emerson does swing across in. Oh, and the header towards goal. Just tipped over the bar there by Diouf. It was Belerdi again making a nuisance of himself in that Nice penalty area. Lovely ball in from Emerson. Climbing highest at the back post there was Belerdi, nodding the ball towards goal, but unfortunately for him and Marseille, straight at Diouf. He was just able to just help it on its way over the crossbar. Marseille happy to have a corner at this point. It's Emerson who's come across to the right-hand side to take. Free just having a word with a couple of Marseille players in that Nice penalty area. There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on. There's Emerson now. Sizes up this corner kick. In it goes from him towards the back post. Headed up but not entirely away there. Ball's going to drop here for Aubameyang. He lays it off to Vermeeren. Aubameyang gets it back, shifts it onto the left foot, tries a little stabbed cross-come shot really from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. In the end it was neither really. He was at full stretch, and in the end the ball just rolled pretty harmlessly through to Yvan Diouf. Nice can look to build again from the back as Mendy plays it back to Diouf. Diouf drilling a pass forward. It's going to come here to Wahi. His layup is well picked up by Cho. He combines nicely with Klaus. Cho stepping away from Timber in midfield there. And the challenge that came in from Emerson is the one that the referee has eventually penalised, and we're actually going to see our first yellow card of the evening here. A couple of Marseille players protesting their cases here, not least Emerson Palmieri, but it's a bit of a crude challenge on Mohamed Ali Cho because he'd skipped away from the Italian, and Emerson Palmieri going into the book here. So Nice looking to make something happen here from this free kick. It's a long way out. It's right of centre, good 40-45 yards from goal, so it's going to be flighted into the penalty area, you'd imagine. Marseille trying to hold a high line a couple of yards outside their own penalty area. There's Jonathan Klaus. Again stands over this one. Here he goes now, Klaus. Decent delivery again. Headed away nicely there by Medina, I think it was. Only as far as Opong, though. Nice have the ball here with Melvin Barr, who drills a nice-looking pass long to the edge of the penalty area, but the header there was won by Juma Barr. It's a bit of a loose one. He was right inside the Marseille penalty area there was Barr, and it was he who was the intended target, I think, from that free kick as well. In the end, Marseille just surviving both situations. And with half an hour gone at the Stade Velodrome, it's still goalless between Olympique Marseille and OGC Nice. It's certainly the hosts who have enjoyed the lion's share of territory and possession, and the chances as well. Still awaiting a breakthrough here, as Timothy Weah now collects the ball 35 yards from goal. Finds a pass out to his right to Pavard. Pavard immediately giving it back to the American. Now Belerdi moving it on to Medina. Here's Facundo Medina now. Moves it on to Vermeeren. Here's Emerson. Playing it back to Medina. Medina swings in a left-footed cross. That's headed away nicely, but only as far as Weah, who shoots. Oh, not too far away from Timothy Weah. The ball just sailing over the crossbar. He just leant back on it slightly. It came to him at a really nice height on the volley, Timothy Weah, and he made a good contact with it as well on the right foot. 25 yards out, but it's always just sailing over Yevan Diouf. Crossbar. The wait for a goal for Timothy Weah continues. He scored in his previous 16 appearances in all competitions prior to tonight. Timothy Weah. Run stretching back to a 5-2 win at Angers back in January. Wasn't too far away there, but really troubling Diouf as Aubameyang looks to get onto a headed through ball, but it's tidied up nicely over there by Antoine Mendy. Although I think Marseille are going to have a throw in here because Jonathan Klaus has just overrun the ball. They're not wasting any time in getting on with it here, Marseille. Here's Belerdi now. Moving it on to Pavard, just inside his own half. Plays it square again to Belerdi. He moves it on to Medina. He's got Emerson wide of him. Emerson collects over by the touchline. Then a little clipped ball into the penalty area and a little flicked header on there by Nadi. Wasn't a bad effort from him, actually. It was a Højbjerg cross. A little backwards flicked header from about 7 yards out or so from Tochukwu Nadi. Again, just sailing over the crossbar of Yevan Diouf. Marseille just looking to turn the screw here, aren't they? As we head towards the final part of this opening half at the Stade Velodrome. As Diouf takes his kick long, slips in doing so. Marseille quickly have it back as Pavard launches it clear. Wahi just leaving a little bit on him, but getting away with it. Then a nice little bit of footwork over there by Opong to step away from Aubameyang. Now here's Juma Barr. Plays it square to Mendy. Actually born in Marseille was Antoine Mendy. Could be viewed perhaps as the one that got away for them. 21 years of age now. 6 caps for Senegal. As Nice come away with the ball here. Bit of a sloppy touch in midfield there from Sanson, who briefly won it back but then lost it again. And Now here come Marseille, and it's marauding down the left-hand side. It's Quentin Timber. In comes the cross from Palmieri. Nodded down here on the edge of the box to Weah. Weah gathering the ball in. Laying it back here to Pavard. And now here's Belerdi, just inside the centre circle, inside the Nice half. He finds a pass to Medina. Now, driving inside is Quentin Timber. Here's Medina once again. Finds Emerson to his left. Emerson thinks about taking on Klaus, but instead passes it back inside to Medina. Little 1-2 between him and Timber that doesn't quite come off, but having missed the ball initially, Medina chases back to retrieve. Now, it's an opportunity in midfield there for Timber, but he's snuffed out quickly. Marseille win it back, though, as Nadi lays it off to Belerdi. Then Nadi finding a pass out to the left-hand side to Emerson. Emerson going in field to Medina once more. Nice just holding a really deep line here, just looking to snuff out this Marseille wave of attacks. It's a good little piece of interplay, and there's a chance here. Oh my goodness, Diouf was out, and it was a little back heel there that could have gone anywhere. And Nice just getting away with one, I feel, there, as Wahi looks to take on his man just inside the Marseille half, but Marseille win it back, and really looking to ramp things up here as Nadi finds Emerson wide on the left-hand side. Emerson down towards the byline, tries to fizz in across. That's deflected behind from a corner. In that previous passage of play, it was a really nice little piece of interplay on the edge of the penalty area. Vermeeren involved, Timber involved as well. It was a little back heel as Diouf came scrambling out. It could have gone anywhere, but fortunately for Nice, one of their defenders was on hand to hoik the ball clear. Danger isn't over for them just yet, because Marseille have a corner. From the left-hand side, it's taken left-footed, outswinger by Emerson. Headed away well this time by Nice. Only as far, though, as Nadi. Here he is now, surging in field, laying it off now to Vermeeren. Here's Timothy Weah. He finds Emerson, who stayed wide on the left after taking that corner. Here's Timber now, swinging in a devilish cross. Oh, and well, up there again was Leonardo Belerdi. And again, he's met it with a header. He'd stayed up from the corner. He's no more than 8 yards out. And he's beaten Barr to the ball comprehensively. He's only succeeded just in nodding the ball wide, though, Leonardo Belerdi. I mentioned earlier, didn't I, that it's been a long old time since he's scored a goal in Ligue 1. You can probably see why. He's had a couple of really decent half opportunities now. There's Leonardo Belerdi, just managing to beat Yvan Diouf with either of them. There's Emerson trying to tidy up, but then there's a loose header from Vermeeren. Poor pass, though. Attempted through ball to Wahi from Cho was a disappointing one, and just as they were getting excited for a moment, Nice, the attack was snuffed out. And Boudoui now doing a good piece of defensive work in midfield, but Marseille have the ball back now as Medina coming forward now, looking for options outside of him. Finds Quentin Timber, level with the edge of the Nice box. It's passed inside to Højbjerg. Now here's Pavard. Pavard turning back inside under a little bit of pressure from Sanson. Here's Facundo Medina now. And then Højbjerg laying it out to the right. So Emerson on the overlap there was Timber trying to find a left-footed cross. Ball bouncing away over towards the touchline. It's actually stayed in, though. Timber finding Vermeeren just on the edge of the Nice penalty area. Over on the left-hand side, Vermeeren doing well to come back in field and combine with Timber. And now here's Pavard. Pavard thought about a pass to the left, but instead goes over to his right to Timothy Weah. Nadi's layoff finds Pavard. Pavard turning away from Oppong. And that's volleyed clear pretty comprehensively by Nice, courtesy of Juma Barr. Measured pass down the left towards Nadi is cut out as well by Nice. And now Boudoui tries to find a left-footed ball to Sanson. Sanson losing out there, battling away with Nadi. And Morgan Sanson eventually conceding the free kick. Bit of pushing and shoving between Tochukwu Nadi there and Morgan Sanson. Nothing in it really. The referee just giving them both a bit of a ticking off and asking them to get on with it, which Marseille do with the free kick. Now they've worked it out to the left-hand side to Emerson. Emerson's cross is cleared away yet again by Antoine Mendy. Now here's Benjamin Pavard. Aubameyang coming short to link the play. He's struggled to get involved so far. Little back heel this time from Aubameyang. It doesn't quite come off. It's intended there for Nadi, but no luck for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Marseille now have to start again with Rooney, the goalkeeper. They've managed to work it up here to Nadi. He swings in across towards the back post. That's controlled calmly by Klaus and then comprehensively cleared away with the right foot. Snapping away there at Medina was Mohamed Ali Cho, but unfortunately for Nice, just overrun the ball. About 10 yards or so inside the Marseille half, and the hosts can settle for a throw-in, which they've taken quickly. It's come through here to Pavard once more. So, 5 minutes to go or so of normal time in this opening half of this Ligue 1 clash between Marseille and Nice at the Stade Velodrome. Still goalless, but it's Marseille who have certainly enjoyed the better of the chances. Nice have just generally looked to sit in, either in this 5-3-2 or 5-4-1 shape, and frustrate Marseille. Happy for them to have the ball just about up to the final third. And at that point, Claude Puel's men decide it's time to engage. They've done that fairly successfully on the whole, I would say, Nice. They've also looked a little bit vulnerable as well at times, as Klaus, volleyed clearance, picked up by Boudaoui. He goes down. He's going to win a free kick, I think, there. It's Quentin Timber who's penalised for his challenge. As Mason Greenwood looks on from the Marseille bench, I do feel as though it won't be too long before they turn to him in the second half if it remains goalless. It's Oppong now for Nice. Gathers it in midway inside his own half. Plays it to his right to Mendy. Then it's launched along by Barr down the right-hand side. Balerdi has to come across a little bit hurriedly there and just chest the ball out of play. Nice make a bit of a mess of the resulting throw-in, and Marseille have it back almost straight away as Aubameyang looking to take on Samed in midfield. No change out of him though, and it's Barr for Nice. Barr sliding a pass down the left-hand side. It's worked away by Marseille to Weah, and Barr tries to get there ahead of him, but Marseille keep it now, although it's a bit of a slack pass from Nadi trying to find Weah again on the right-hand side, and that allows Nice to come away with it. As Wahi now back to goal. He's manhandled really there by Balerdi. He wants a free kick, does Wahi, but referee not interested in his protest at all, as passes slid down the left-hand side for Cho to chase. Goalkeeper coming out there and doing well, really. Just whacking it clear. It's actually Morgan Sanson who's down at the moment for Nice. Going to be coming together between him and one of the Marseille players there. I think it was Pavard possibly, who just left a bit of a foot in. Just seeing a repeat of that earlier coming together between Wahi and Balerdi. And actually Wahi, so he sticks his finger up Balerdi's nose, and it's an extraordinary little coming together between those two. And they're at it again here. Just a bit of pushing and shoving going on. The referee's going to have to sort this one out. It's been bubbling away for the whole half so far between Balerdi and Wahi. It's clear the Nice man is getting under Balerdi's skin. I think the referee is just going to have a word with both of them. He's actually shown a yellow card here to Facundo Medina. Not entirely sure what that was for. Perhaps something he said, because it was definitely Wahi and Balerdi who had come together again there. Wahi himself has also been shown a yellow card, so he's going to be walking a tightrope for the rest of this game. Yeah, there's Just a subsequent coming together between Medina and Wahi, where Medina basically returned the favour on Wahi by jabbing his finger into the face of the Ivory Coast striker, as he had done to Belerde before him. So it's all a little bit childish from them out there, isn't it? But all's fair in love and war, and the referee getting his notebook out and entering the names of Elie Wahi and Facundo Medina to go alongside Emerson Palmieri. His ball is launched long. Medina wins a header. Nice come away with the ball now. And here's Sanson driving towards the edge of the Marseille penalty area. Tries a left-footed cross. Doesn't quite come off. And then Vermeeren picking up the second ball well for Marseille. Bit of pressure here for Timber to deal with, which he does well. Gets it back to Weah, but then Weah, a bit of slack pass towards the right touchline that Vermeeren was never really going to keep in play. And so right at the end of this first half here, Nice been given a throw-in in the sort of area that they could launch it long into the box, should Melvin Barr decide to do so. He's certainly asking people to get back, and he's taking a bit of a run at the ball. In it goes from Barr. Headed up but not entirely away by Belerde. Nodded down by Cho to Wahi. The little layoff to Sanson. Morgan Sanson having a little slash at goal from the edge of the Marseille penalty area. Wasn't too far away. In fairness, the former Marseille man, of course, Morgan Sanson. Over 150 appearances for them between 2017 and 2021. Actually would have been a fairly rare goal in Ligue 1 for him. Hasn't scored since bagging the winner in a single goal win over Stade de Reims back in May 2025. Did contribute a goal in the Coupe de France win over St Etienne back in December. 2-1 success against them in a fifth round clash, but as I say, would have been his first league goal for almost a year. Unfortunately just let back on the shot, and that sent it sailing over Geronimo Rudi's crossbar. There's Marseille now, looking to see if they can find an opener before the interval. In comes the cross from the left-hand side. Chested down very calmly there at the back post by Melvin Barr. I think his heart might have been in his mouth for a moment there as Diouf came towards him, but good piece of defending. He had Nadi all over him, did Melvin Barr, but got the job done with a little chest down for the goalkeeper. And Diouf launches it long now, up towards Wahi, who's beaten to the ball. Good piece of midfield play there, though, this time by Boudaoui. Just gathering the ball in and stepping away calmly from Vermeeren. We're almost through the 2 additional minutes that the fourth official indicated were to be added on to the end of this first half, as Mendy finds a pass to his right to Juma Barr. And that is all we are going to see in this first half, as Willy Delageau blows his whistle for half-time. So it's been a game that's not really caught fire just yet. Certainly Marseille been in the ascendancy for most of it, but curiously, rather than the likes of Aubameyang or Quentin Timber, their most potent attacking weapon has actually been one of their centre-halves, Leonardo Belerde. He's had a couple of sights at goal from crosses into the penalty area from set pieces, a couple of headers, one air shot that he had when he had a decent chance to steer a volley towards goal. He's created a couple of saves for Yvan Diouf to make. Nothing too outrageous. Up at the other end, Wahi is playing a bit of a lone furrow up there for Nice. He's been battling away with Belerde, and most recently Facundo Medina as well, getting himself into a bit of bother with the referee. Going into the referee's notebook just prior to the interval, but as I say, it's even Stevens really so far at the Stade Velodrome. Marseille with the upper hand in terms of territory and possession, but as of yet, unable to find a breakthrough. We're going to take a little break now. Make sure you tune back in 15 minutes or so, and I'll bring you live coverage of the second half. Hopefully we will find somebody to break the deadlock here and decide this game either way. But at half-time at the Stade Velodrome in Ligue 1, it is Marseille 0, Nice 0. Hello again, everybody. Chris Bryant here to bring you live coverage of the second half of the final game in France's Ligue this weekend. It's between Olympique Marseille and OGC Nice. Unfortunately, we are still waiting for our first goal of the evening. I was hoping for a little bit more, I'll be honest, after 17 goals were scored in the 4 earlier games in Ligue 1 today. Strasbourg winning 3-2 at Lorient. Remarkable 4-4 draw between Le Havre and Metz. Lille winning 1-0 at Paris FC. And then Rennes scoring a dramatic late winner. 2-1 success against Nantes. Closest we come so far is probably a chance for Arthur Vermeeren for Marseille, who fired towards goal at the back post after a nice cross from Timothy Weah, who's been pretty lively for Marseille down the right-hand side. A couple of decent headed opportunities as well for one of the Marseille centre-halves, Leonardo Bellerdi. As I say, as yet, the deadlock still not been broken. Nice haven't really forced Geronimo Rulli into any sort of work, the Marseille goalkeeper. It does look as though Claude Puel, the Nice boss, is going to make a change at half-time here. You can see their top scorer limbering up, Sofiane Diop. He's coming on to replace Morgan Sanson. It's been a funny old season, actually, for Diop. He's got 9 goals in all competitions. He only had 8 in 76 games for Nice prior to this season. He's got those 9 goals in 39 games. 7 goals he's got in Ligue 1. 6 of them came in 5 games. His spell in September and October. He only has 1 in his last 19 in the league. Came in a 4-1 win at Nantes in January, but perhaps the introduction of their number 10 can give the visitors a bit of thrust. They certainly need it based on their efforts in the first half. And they've spurned possession early on from kick-off, going long. It's Oppong who tried to fire a ball over to the left-hand side, but it's just sailed out of play. Now Timothy Weah takes the throw-in for Marseille. Stepping in there was Juma Ba. Little layoff by Aubameyang. Nice have the ball back, and it's played back to Yvan Diouf, who was pretty busy actually in that first half to make quite a few saves, as he looks for what will only be his 5th clean sheet of the season in all competitions. 26 years of age now, the Nice goalkeeper. Didn't seem to be fancied initially actually by Claude Puel when he came in December, but he has started the last 7 Ligue 1 games now, including tonight. There's Medina now, tries to fire it down the left-hand side. That's taken a little deflection and goes out of play. It's going to be a throw-in for Marseille. It's Emerson to take. Goes short to Højbjerg. Gets it back from him. Little lofted ball forward from Emerson that's dealt with by Mendy. He then just lays it back to Juma Ba. He plays it back to Diouf, but Diouf makes a real hash of his attempted clearance. Just shanking the ball straight out of play. Marseille are keen to get things moving as Emerson takes the throw-in. Medina plays it inside to Højbjerg. Now here's Pavard. 15 yards or so inside the Nice half. Decides to just play it back to Bellerdi, who collects on the edge of the centre circle. Bellerdi looking for options in front of him. Eventually finds Weah to his right. Weah playing the ball inside here to Medina. Medina now rolls it to his left to Vermeeren. Here's Facundo Medina once more. Midway inside the Nice half. Central position here is Bellerdi. Plays it to his right to Weah. Weah swings in across. Decent ball headed down. Oh, and not too far away there. Marseille so close to taking the lead. Diouf was scrambling across his goal. I think it was possibly Nadi, was it, who got his head on the ball? Or maybe Aubameyang. Yeah, I think it was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang who just got across the near post, steered the header towards goal, and it's just gone wide of Yvan Diouf's right-hand post. Habib Bey, more frustration for him, the Marseille boss. He's absolutely desperate to see his team take the lead here, but that's about as close as we've come there from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's been in pretty good form at the Stade Vélodrome as the former Arsenal striker. 3 goals in his last 4 appearances here in the league. He almost made it 4 in 5 there. Still going strong, isn't he, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, at the grand old age of 36 now. 13 goals for him in all competitions. Actually scored in the reverse fixture between these two back in November, which ended up in a 5-1 win for Marseille. Picked up a couple of assists that day as well, did Aubameyang. Well, Ba, the Nice left wing back there, has made his way down the left-hand side towards the corner flag, and he's tried to put a cross in. It's deflected behind. He's adamant it should have been a corner there, but the referee pointing for a goal kick instead to Marseille. And now Højbjerg coming forward for them, finding Vermeeren in the centre circle. He plays it to his left. It's picked up there by Emerson. And now Højbjerg with a decent ball over the top, nodded down. Ball bobbling around a little bit awkwardly there for Nice, but now Ba gathers it for them, and he's being fouled here surely by Nadi. Yes, the referee tried to play the advantage initially, but eventually blows his whistle. And Tochukwu Nadi being penalised there. Just had a handful of Ba's shirt. And it was always a case of when, not if, the referee was going to award that free kick. And now Marseille have a chance here. They've dispossessed Boudaoui. Into the area here is Emerson. Little step over there, and it's come to Weah. Oh, and a good block right in front of his own goal there. I think it was by Juma Ba, because it was a really good opportunity for Marseille. It was Aubameyang who slid in to win the ball back in midfield. And then the cutback from, I think it was actually Medina rather than Emerson, who cut the ball back. Højbjerg moved it on, and the shot came in there. And it was an excellent piece of defensive work from Juma Ba. Nadi's shot at the far post, just deflecting behind. Marseille have to settle for their first corner of this second half, which is going to be taken from the right-hand side by Emerson. The in-swinger with the left foot, and it goes. Oh, and a free header again for Balerdi, would you believe it? And he sinks to his knees and puts his face in his hands. He can't believe it, the Argentine centre-half. He's had another glorious opportunity here, no more than 6 yards out. Okay, he was being put under a little bit of pressure there by Cho, but Balerdi knows he really should have given Marseille the lead there. And it's another really good opportunity that goes begging for them. And you have to say, with every single one that goes by, you have to start wondering if Marseille are going to rue these missed opportunities. As Diouf clears his lines from the goal kick. Long, down the left-hand side, beats everyone, bounces out of play for a Marseille throw-in. Just about 3 or 4 yards inside their own half. There's a bit of a problem here for Nice. See, one of their players is down. Just wait and see who that is, as Timothy Weah just waits the nod from the referee to take the throw in. It's Kojo Pepra Opong who's gone down in a heap. It's like a coming together there in midfield between him and Quentin Timber. Not too much in that, though, I don't think. He's back on his feet now, thankfully, and Timothy Weah has taken the throw-in, and Marseille quickly looking to sweep the ball from right to left. Here's Vermeeren, combining well with Medina. Now here's Emerson. Quickly onto him there was Opong. Marseille win the throw-in. It's taken quickly back to Højbjerg. Højbjerg opens up and rolls the ball across the face of the centre circle to Pavard. Pavard tries to clip a ball into Aubameyang at the edge of the box. That's well seen off by Opong. And then volleyed forward towards Wahi. It's going to be a little bit too heavy for him. Rudy coming out of his area to sweep up, although his left-footed pass towards Medina was a bit heavy. And that's gone out for a Nice throw-in. Good 5 or 10 yards inside the Marseille half. Here's Klaus. Plays the ball inside to Diop. Asking a bit much of him though, and Marseille have it back with Emerson. He plays it back to Rulli. Now the ball is making its way to Højbjerg, Marseille skipper. He fizzes a pass into midfield to Vermeeren. Heavy touch from him though, and then Diop gathers, links well with Wahi, but the return pass from Diop to Wahi wasn't quite what was needed in that situation, a little bit too light. That allowed Pavard to step in for Marseille. And now here's Vermeeren for them. Pavard once more, the France World Cup winner, of course, back in 2018. Here's Højbjerg, combining with Nadi, finding Pavard once more, about 5 yards or so inside the Nice half. Marseille looking to make their way down the right-hand side, but unfortunately this time it's Emerson who's just popping up on the opposite flank to where he's been operating for most of the game, who's looking to make headway, but he's just sent the ball out of play. He thought he should have had a throw-in, but instead it's awarded to Nice, and Melvin Barr takes it, gets it back, slices a crossfield pass to Klaus that he gets away with, and then Klaus looking to take on Vermeeren, who does really well to win the ball back for Marseille. And then Emerson now back over on the left-hand side, tidies things up for Marseille. Medina drilling a long pass down the left, a really nice one as well, that's chested down by Aubameyang. Good strength by Barr to win it initially, but Aubameyang has it back, sends in a cross, headed away by Barr, gathered in on the edge of the box by Diop. Then the pass from him over to the right-hand side is a poor one, and Marseille have the throw-in. It's taken by Emerson now. Here's Højbjerg, 35 yards from goal, tries to slide a pass into Aubameyang, doesn't get it right on this occasion. But Timber doing well to win it back for Marseille, showing good strength, but it's cleared away in the end by Nice, who are just in mass ranks on the edge of their own 18-yard box at the moment. Here's Diop, careless backheel from him, but he gets away with it. It's Samed in midfield who gathers. Boudoui taking a risk, going down under a challenge. Oh, he's got a little bit lucky there as Boudoui, the referee, finding in his favour, but he was being swarmed there by a combination of Vermeeren and Højbjerg, and he's just got away with that. It probably was a foul in fairness to Hicham Boudoui. And Nice now take the resulting free kick with Barr. Midway inside their own half. It's Oppong now on the ball. Goes back to Juma Barr once again. Here's Oppong. Decides to roll it back to Diouf, who plays it first time to his right to Mendy. Mendy takes a touch and then hits it long down the right-hand side. That's a decent ball from him. Little flick on, finds Wahi. Wahi now up to the edge of the Marseille box. He's got support, goes alone, shoots low. Oh, and it almost went through Rulli's legs, actually. The goalkeeper did pretty well to just collapse on the ball there. I thought for a moment it was going to squirt between the legs of Geronimo, really, because it was a really well-hit shot from Elie Wahi. Instead, Marseille now coming forward themselves with Vermeeren. Good challenge there by Oppong, just getting in to deny Marseille, and they're coming forward here. It's a barnstorming run forward by Klaus. He's got support from Diop. Diop finds a good little pass to the right-hand side to Cho. Oh, and Cho just trying to lift it over the keeper, but really, to his credit, came storming out to meet him. It was a really smart pass inside the fullback by Diop. Maybe slightly too heavy for Cho. Cho did get there first, and he just tried to dink it over the onrushing Rulli. Rulli has made himself big, and he's got a strong right leg on the ball there. So a couple of really big interventions by the Marseille goalkeeper in the past couple of minutes or so, who I said had been a bit of a bystander in the first half in truth, but he's earned his stripes there as Geronimo Rulli in the past couple of minutes. As Nice finally starting to bare their teeth as an attacking force in this game. Marseille have the ball once again with Højbjerg, who finds Vermeeren on the left-hand side. He moves it on to Emerson. Emerson gets it back to Vermeeren, who tries to go to the byline and tries to win a corner, but the final touch did come off Arthur Vermeeren there. And Nice quite happy to have a goal kick from that situation. So 58 minutes on the clock here. Still goalless between Olympique Marseille and OGC Nice. It's Marseille really do need to find a winner here if they're going to keep their push for Champions League qualification alive. Going into this one as they are 5 points adrift of fourth-placed Lille. And third-placed Lyon as well, it should be said. Got to close that gap back to 2, really. As you feel as though anything less than that, or anything more than that, I should say, could leave them with an insurmountable task in the final 3 games of the season. Certainly a draw here would move them to within 4, would feel quite good enough. And they dare not lose the game as well, of course, Marseille. As things stand, it's still very much in the balance. As Bellerdi now just controls a slightly awkward ball with his left foot, midway inside his own half. Measures a pass over to the right-hand side. Is that going to be kept in by Weah? Yes, it is. Good play from Timothy Weah. Now he drives towards the edge of the Nice penalty area, but loses the ball. Wins it back, though, and lays it back to Højbjerg. Here's Medina now. And it's Nadi, wide on the right-hand side, looking to make some headway. Flicks a ball into the penalty area that's dealt with well by Mendy. And Antoine Mendy can only knock it out of play for a throw-in, which Quentin Timber takes quickly for Marseille. Timber now, little 1-2 between him and Nadi. Low cross from Timber, but that's straight at Yevan Diouf, who's very happy to just fall onto the ball there. And that little passage of play is the prompt for Mason Greenwood to limber up down there on the touchline. I did say in the first half, didn't I, that I didn't think Habib Beye would wait too long to introduce Mason Greenwood if his team hadn't found a way through, and it does look as though the arrival of the Englishman is imminent now. As Marseille work the ball to the left-hand side to Medina. He goes over the top, looking for the run there of Emerson, but it's too heavy for him. And it's just going to bounce out of play for a Nice goal kick. Does look as though it's going to be 2 changes here for Marseille. Greenwood obviously coming on, but does look as though Tajuddin Madi might also be entering the fray. We'll see if that happens in a moment or so, because for now the game continues with Yevan Diouf's long goal kick. Ball's fallen kindly here to Nadi. He manages to find a pass to Weah to his right. Weah into the box to Aubameyang. Down to the byline. Aubameyang tries to stand up across. Excellent piece of defending again there by Oppong. And the ball goes behind for a Marseille corner. We'll have to wait and see if Habib Beye is going to make those changes ahead of the corner. Looks as though he's probably going to wait. So it will be Emerson Palmieri to swing in the latest Marseille corner from the right-hand side. Here he goes now. Decent looking ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed up by Højbjerg. It was a bit of an awkward one for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Couldn't steer it towards goal. And I think he knew that, so he was trying to just keep it alive. So kind of headed it straight up in the air, but all he succeeded in doing was just making the ball float agonisingly out of play for a Nice goal kick. So here come these 2 Marseille changes then. It's going to be Emerson who departs. He's one of the 2. And coming on for him is, as I say, Tajuddin Madi, 19-year-old youth prospect. And also going off is Arthur Vermeeren. And coming on to replace him is Marseille's star man, undoubted star man, Mason Greenwood. There was a lot of consternation among the locals that he wasn't in the starting 11 in the first place, Mason Greenwood, but he's on now, and hopefully, from their perspective, can inspire them to victory from here. Because Melvin Barr now steps away from his marker and plays a ball down the left-hand side, looking for Wahi. Good piece of defensive play, though, over there by Pavard to see him off. Just volleyed forward by the Frenchman. Nice take the throw from just inside the Marseille half. Coming forward now is Mendy. He finds a pass to Bar on the left-hand side. Little pass infield to Cho, but Cho is dispossessed. And now here comes Greenwood with his first touch. Finds Timber. Timber checks back, wide on the right-hand side. Midway inside the Marseille half. Clips a little ball inside to Greenwood. Greenwood now finding Højbjerg. 25 yards from goal. Plays it to his left. And now here's Weah cutting inside and firing it towards goal. But that's not quite what the doctor ordered on that occasion. It was actually Maddie with his first involvement there. He's come on wide on the left-hand side. Just looking to cut inside onto his right foot. Fire it towards goal. Just getting it all wrong. Ball hitting the outside of his right foot and just skewing rather awkwardly off it. All the way out of play. Over on the far side for another goal kick to Nice. So, 26 minutes or so of normal time remaining here at the Stade Vélodrome. Still goalless between Marseille and Nice. And it is the visitors who have the ball here with Jonathan Klaus. He finds a pass to Oppong. Here's Melvin Bar. Loose pass from him, though, that's gathered in easily by Højbjerg. Here's Greenwood now. Surging forward down the right-hand side, Mason Greenwood. Moves it on to Weah. Here's Quentin Timber now. Timber plays a little pass to his right to Timothy Weah. And here's Nadi now. Moves it inside. Here's Højbjerg. Plays it to his left to Madi. Madi checks back on the right foot once again and lays it back to Medina. Here's Balerdi now. Just on the halfway line. Plays it to his right to Pavard. Pavard moving it on to Nadi. Here's Benjamin Pavard again. Clips the ball out to his right to Timothy Weah. Here is Weah once more. Swings in a good-looking cross and a diving header, and it's in! And it's Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Marseille's captain, with a captain's intervention just when it's most needed in the context of their season. A diving header from the former Tottenham and Southampton man. And it's one that's given Marseille the lead here against Nice. It's very much a case of persistence paying off for Marseille. They've pushed and they've pushed and they've pushed for the best part of 66 minutes. And finally, the door is opened by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Goal number 3 for him this season. And it's his first in Ligue since all the way back in November in a 2-2 draw against Toulouse. And I can't imagine he's scored a more important one for Marseille than that. An excellent diving header. The cross from the right-hand side was perfection. All he had to do was just steer the ball on target. He's popped up left of centre, just a yard or so to the left of the penalty spot, and he steered the ball back the other way. Diouf diving to his left, absolutely no chance of keeping it out whatsoever. And the Stade Vélodrome erupts as Marseille take what you have to say is a well-deserved lead here against Nice in Ligue 1. That goal has prompted Claude Puel to make a change. The relatively ineffectual Mohamed Ali Cho has gone off. Coming on in his place is Khalil Boudash. Whether or not that can inject some attacking momentum into Nice, we'll have to see, because Marseille have made most of the running. But here comes Antoine Mendy now. Plays it over to the right-hand side to Klaus. His ball inside was just a little bit short for Samed. But Nice have it back here with Boudaoui. Swings a cross in towards the far post. It's going to be collected here by Melvin Bar. Low cross from him. Gathered in by Diouf in the penalty area. Swings it towards the back post. Headed down. Oh, and Wahi had a really good chance there on the edge of the 6-yard box. Claude Puel turns away in disgust. It was a gorgeous little cross in from Diop, and somehow between them, Budash, the substitute, and El Yawahi both coming in on the ball. They've missed it, the pair of them. I think it's actually taken a touch off a Marseille player on the way through. And at the end of all of that, Nice are going to have a corner. From the right-hand side, it's Jonathan Klaus who's taking it. Right-footed outswinger. Volleyed away by Aubameyang. Nodded down, there's a chance for Wahi! Oh, brilliant save by Rulli. It comes to Klaus. Danger not over yet for Marseille, but I think the offside flag is going to go up here against El Yawahi. Wow, it looked as though for a second that Nice were just going to draw level immediately. It was a lovely corner in by Klaus. It was volleyed up and not entirely away by Aubameyang. The ball was nodded down to Wahi, and Rulli spread himself so well and made an absolutely outstanding point-blank save. He's had a few words there for El Yawahi as well as Rulli. The ball just deflecting off the left shoulder, I think, of Rulli. He didn't know too much about it, in truth. As I say, the offside flag going up to deny El Yawahi a goal anyway, if it had gone in. As Medina now, with a bit of a hurried clearance, took a heavy touch there. Weah just rescuing him and managing to get the ball back to Rulli. Heavy touch from Rulli. Oh, and he's hit it straight into a Nice player. It's crossed in, and there's a chance. Oh, my goodness, the substitute, Budash. How on earth has he missed it? Claude Puel puts his head in his hands. Oh, and Nice really should be level here. Rulli just took a heavy touch from a back pass on the right-hand side of his penalty area. Got himself in all sorts of trouble. And then the ball was fizzed in. It was Melvin Barr. He's hit a half-volleyed cross on the left foot. There was an outstanding piece of play. And there was Khalil Budash. He's only been on the field a couple of minutes. All he had to do was just head the ball into an empty net. And somehow it's brushed off his head and gone wide. Claude Puel can't believe it. And I personally can't believe it either, to be perfectly honest. Nice really should be level immediately in this game. Somehow they're not. Perhaps that just sums up how their season's gone, really. As Marseille now look to come forward again down the left-hand side. Here's Greenwood, couple of step-overs. Comes inside, Samed. Finds a pass here to Weah. Weah thinks about a shot, does have a shot in the end. And it's blocked there by Melvin Barr. And it's going to go away for a Marseille throw-in. So, goodness me, this game has really come to life over the last 5 minutes or so. Drama at both ends. Marseille taking the lead through Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Nice, my word, they should be level. Glorious, glorious opportunity for the substitute, Budash. Somehow contriving to head over. And Marseille breathing a huge, huge sigh of relief as they look to come forward here through Medina on the halfway line. Pass inside to Nadi. Here's Belerdi now inside the centre circle. Moved on to Medina. And now here's Maddy, the substitute. This is a nice little spell of possession for Marseille, and they need really after the madness of those last couple of minutes. Bit of a heavy touch though by Belerdi as Wahi. Well, Wahi snapping in. He's been penalised by the referee, and he's got to be really, really careful as El Yawahi was booked in the first half. I think Belerdi's just making that point to the referee. Just got there slightly late, but it was a heavy touch from Belerdi. He had every right to make a challenge for that, El Yawahi. And I imagine that's probably why the referee has shown some leniency there. As I say, he's walking a bit of a tightrope here, the number 11 for Nice. As the visitors now look to get the game back underway with a throw-in. Taken by Melvin Barr, level with the edge of his own penalty area on the left-hand side. Here's Oppong. Goes back to Diouf. Diouf now, just taking a moment before measuring a little pass to the right-hand side to Mendy. Bit of space for Mendy. He plays a pass into midfield to Diop. Here's Klaus outside of the right foot. And just to find a pass into midfield to Samed. Lovely piece of defensive play, though, by Højbjerg, who's on top of him immediately. And Højbjerg now finds a pass out to the left-hand side to Maddy. Maddy, little pass inside to Timber, but the ball just bobbling a little bit awkwardly off the legs of Quentin Timber. And eventually Nice winning a throw-in off the Dutchman. It's going to be taken by Antoine Mendy. Gets some good distance on it into midfield. Little flick on there by Diouf. It's going to be gathered in by Wahi, who does well to volley it to his left to Bar, just inside his own half. Bar measures a good ball over the top, and it's brought down well by Diouf, who goes down under a challenge there from Pavard, I think it was, and he was inside the area as well. Referee waving away the Nice protests. Oh, I'd really like to look at that once again, because it did look as though Pavard was in a bit of trouble. For now, Marseille look as though they've got away with it, as Nadi finds a pass into midfield. Bit of a slack ball there, though, that presents itself to Budash. Budash now, skipping away from a couple of challenges, sliding a good pass to Klaus. A clipped cross up from Klaus from just inside the Marseille penalty area. Could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to just stand it up to the back post, Jonathan Klaus, on the right foot. But all he did was just allow the goalkeeper to come out, Rouli to claim with both hands. Just seeing that Pavard challenge on Sofiane Diop again. It would have been a bit harsh to penalise Pavard for that. But for now, Marseille have got another problem to deal with, because their goal scorer, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, is currently down. Be a real blow for them if he has to go off. He does have to depart. He's certainly made his mark on this game as Højbjerg, 30 years of age now. Initially joined on loan from Tottenham back in the summer of 2024, before making that move permanent last summer for around about €13.5 million. It is his third goal in Ligue 1 this season, as I mentioned. Fourth goal in all competitions. It's his first since netting in a 6-0 win against Bourg-en-Bresse, game that I mentioned a bit earlier in the broadcast. Coupe de France, I should say, 5th round back in December. 6-0 win for Marseille. Højbjerg among their scorers that day. He is jogging off to the side of the field now, so we'll hopefully be able to continue. A few of the players just taking this little break in play as an opportunity to take some fluids on board. It does look as though Pierre-Emile Højbjerg will rejoin us. There's Claude Puel, just sitting in his dugout, looking a little bit pensive, as well he might, after watching his side spurn that glorious opportunity for Khalil Budash. Just 19 years of age, the substitute. Actually only got his first senior goal as recently as February in a 3-2 win against Montpellier, the Coupe de France round of 16 clash. And that was as a substitute as well. A game that actually ended up 3-2 to Nice, but they were 2-0 down. Budash's goal sparked a really impressive comeback. And how Nice could do with another intervention along those lines from Budash, but still have another opportunity. 14 or so minutes of normal time to go here at the Stade Vélodrome. It remains Marseille 1, Nice 0. Goal 10 minutes or so ago from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, the difference between the sides. Nice, as I mentioned, could have equalised almost immediately through the substitute Khalil Budash, who somehow headed over when the goal was gaping. But Nice do seem somewhat buoyed by that chance, and they're certainly not going to give up the ghost here, as Pavard collects the ball for Marseille, midway inside his own half. Here's Medina now. Højbjerg not moving entirely freely, but he is back with us. And he finds Medina once again. Højbjerg moving it on now to Belerdi. Belerdi back to Højbjerg once more. Højbjerg crosses the halfway line now, looking for options in front of him, finds Medina. Medina plays a little pass inside to Nadi. And now here's Pavard once more. He moves it on to Timber. And now here's Belerdi. Marseille Just enjoying a little spell of possession here. Although being forced back towards his own goal is Medina. Balerdi finding Pavard. Balerdi then striding away from a combination of Wahi and Diop to try and fizz a pass down the right-hand side to Weah, but just overcooked the pass somewhat. He's actually now just stretching his right leg is Leonardo Balerdi. He's making his 150th appearance in Ligue 1 this evening. It's certainly been an eventful one for him, hasn't it? There's Diouf. Does well to control the ball, but loses it. Wow, he's played a pass into midfield there, Diouf, that was almost pounced upon by Nadi. He's just lost his footing, did Tochukwu Nadi, as he tried to intercept the pass. If he had done, well, Nice would have been in all sorts of problems, but as it was, the ball made its way back to Diouf, and he was able to clear his lines to Mendy. Going down in midfield there is Diop, under a challenge from Højbjerg, who's gone down again, but Nice have taken the free kick quickly, and here's Klaus now, coming up towards the edge of the Marseille penalty area. He's dispossessed though. Good bit of defensive work there again by Nadi. And now here's Medina, under pressure, really strong pressure actually from Budash. Eventually Budash just gets a little block on the attempted clearance from Medina, and the ball bounces behind for a Marseille goal kick. Heading towards the final 10 minutes or so now at the Stade Vélodrome. It looks as though Marseille are going to make another couple of changes here. Habib Bey just looking to help see his team home now. It's going to be Tochukwu Nadi, who's doing a hell of a shift in the engine room tonight. He's one of those who's going to be coming off. Looks as though he's going to be replaced by another youth graduate for Marseille in the shape of Nohum Kamisoko. Just 21 years of age. It's actually his Marseille debut, number 71, making his first appearance this evening. And then the other change for Marseille, Quentin Timber, who's made a successful return from a knock that he's been nursing. He's gone off, and he's been replaced by Himad Abdelli. It does look as though it's like-for-like changes for Habib Bey. And Nice as well. We're going to make a change here. You can see Ali Abdi down there. Also coming on is Kevin Carlos, the striker. He's come on to replace Salis Abdul Samed. And it's Melvin Ba who makes way for Ali Abdi. No great surprise there. Abdi generally operates on that left-hand side. It'll be interesting to see how Nice line up for these final 9 minutes or so, with Kevin Carlos now on the field as well. 25 years of age, a summer signing from Basel. He's still looking for his first Ligue 1 goal, actually, is Kevin Carlos, making his 20th appearance in the competition this season. 22 goals he's managed so far have come in the Europa League. Goals in the defeats against Fenerbahce and Freiburg. Nice could really do with him coming up with that maiden Ligue 1 goal here, as Diouf rolls a pass into midfield to Boudaoui. He plays it back to the goalkeeper, who just stands on the ball for a moment and then drills it forward, right-footed. It's flicked on by Wahi. First touch here for Carlos is to chest the ball down, but he's lost out, and now it's with Greenwood for Marseille. He's been a little bit quiet actually since coming on, hasn't he, Mason Greenwood? But driving towards the byline now. And Greenwood, has he won a corner here? No. It's kept in well by Opong, who tries to clear the ball away, and then Weah snapping in to make a block, and the ball bouncing all the way behind for a Nice goal kick, which Diouf has wasted no time in taking to Boudaoui. Here comes Mendy now, midway inside his own half, just ambling up to the halfway line now. finds Klaus, pretty much on the halfway line. Klaus goes back inside to Mendy. And now here's Juma Bar. Just 20 years of age, Juma Bar. He's actually on loan from Manchester City. Probably not a name that's familiar to too many listeners who are across the Premier League. He certainly looks to have a bright future based on his performance tonight. He's a really good shift in back there alongside Antoine Mendy and Kojo Pepra-Opong, who've largely frustrated the Marseille attacking players. As the hosts now look to build with a first touch for Abdelli. It's played back here to Belerdi. Belerdi finds a nice pass into midfield to Greenwood. And Greenwood now on his bike, looking to take on all comers. Finding a pass to his right to Aubameyang. Aubameyang, couple of step overs from him. Tries to find a pass to the edge of the box there to Maddy, but it doesn't quite come off for him. And then back there for Nice was Boudash tidying things up. Nice little surge there from Abdi to get away from Weah, who came back at him and has fouled him. And Nice want to get things moving again quickly. Here's Diop, just inside his own half. Finds a pass to Mendy, who surges forward towards the edge of the Marseille penalty area. Tries to smuggle a pass into Klaus. Doesn't manage it. And Marseille look to clear their lines. But Abdelli has coughed the ball up to Sofiane Diop. Diop now, sliding a good pass into Carlos. Carlos, under pressure, holds it up well. Finds Boudash. Klaus, just beaten to the ball there. And he goes down. Oh, and it's a penalty! Wow, my goodness me. I thought the contact was actually outside the penalty area. It was Jonathan Klaus who's gone down. But the referee has pointed to the spot here. And my word, extraordinary development at the Stade Vélodrome. It's the substitute Maddy. Oh, it's a clear penalty. You have to say he stepped on the right foot of Jonathan Klaus. And the referee wasted little time in pointing to the spot. And Nice are going to have a glorious opportunity here to get themselves back in the game with 5 minutes remaining. They're pleading their innocence here, Marseille, but I don't think there's any way that this is going to be turned on VAR. The only slight question was whether it was inside or outside the area, but my first thought was it was inside. I don't think there's any doubt at all that it was a foul. Jonathan Klaus went down immediately, clutching his right foot. And the substitute, Tajuddin Maddy, just a bit of a reckless challenge. He's stepped on the right foot with his studs. It's actually a pretty straightforward decision in the end for Willy Delageau, the referee. So Marseille, well, their Champions League aspirations could be hanging in the balance here. It's Sofiane Diop, Nice's top scorer, who's got the ball tucked under his right arm. He's just walked away, taken a few paces towards the edge of the 6-yard box to one side. There's still some of these Marseille players complain to the referee. A couple of Nice players in conversation with the man in the middle as well. I feel as though El Yewahi fancies this penalty, judging by the look on his face at this point. They're going to have to figure this out between them, Nice, because this is a really huge moment in this game. And Sofiane Diop has indeed given the ball to El Yewahi. So, the 2-goal hero from the 2-0 win at Strasbourg in the semi-final of the Coupe de France in midweek is going to step up here. Geronimo really has come out to try and put some pressure on Wahi, standing just a couple of yards in front of the ball. And he's been immediately booked by the referee, Hazrouli, and sent back towards his own goal. So, huge moment in this game and in the season, potentially, of Olympique Marseille. It's Wahi against Rulli, and Wahi, oh, he scored with a Panenka. That is impudence at its finest from El Yewahi. You can tell he's a man in form, because that was a glorious, glorious Panenka penalty. Rulli diving away to his right. But my word, what confidence to produce that spot kick in that moment from El Yewahi. And I think he's enjoyed that. It's Marseille 1, Nice 1. Well, 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 well. I wonder if it's going to be looked at, this penalty, because there was actually some encroachment from one or two Nice players. It's actually quite reminiscent for those viewers of a certain, or listeners I should say, of a certain vintage of Zinedine Zidane's penalty in the 2006 World Cup final. The one that just kissed in off the underside of the crossbar. Wahi's didn't quite kiss the crossbar, but it had a very similar trajectory. And it looks as though the goal is going to be awarded. The encroachment, well, if it was checked, it's not going to be penalised. And wow, all of a sudden, with just 2 minutes of normal time remaining, Marseille, you feel as though they need a goal here if they're going to keep their Champions League dream alive. They've got themselves a throw-in over on the right-hand side. They're midway inside the Nice half. They need to get things moving as Timothy Weah now gets the ball in his hands and looks for runners in front of him. He finds a pass there to Mason Greenwood. Here's Greenwood once again. Little piece of skill from him. Tries to take on his man, which is Abdi. And the ball bounces out of play and he's won his team a corner as Greenwood. It's all hands to the pump now for Marseille. This result, if it stays the same way, would leave them 4 points adrift of the Champions League places with just 3 games remaining. You feel possibly with a little bit much to do, but still time to find a winner. In it goes, it's headed down! Oh my goodness me! I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. It's Bellerdi again, would you believe? And he's missed from a yard. I don't know how it's happened. It's been nodded down. The second ball, it was, who was it who got the initial flick on? I couldn't quite see, but Bellerdi is there, and he's no more than a yard out. Diouf, in fairness, is right in front of him, but Bellerdi somehow has headed the ball wide from a yard out. It's absolutely extraordinary. And if they don't win this game, Marseille will be cursing their luck. Absolutely extraordinary scenes here at the Stade Vélodrome. Remarkable stuff. Nice are going to make a change. My word, it's absolutely breathless at the end here. Let's see who's going to come off for Nice. I think it could well be Wahi, the goal scorer, who again is just looking to exchange a few words with a couple of Marseille players on his way off. He'd do well just to get off the pitch. Elie Wahi, he's on a yellow card, of course, as I mentioned. He's off. He gets a handshake and a warm embrace from Claude Puel, and why not? Because it looks as though his penalty may well have rescued a point for Nice. Certainly wouldn't rule anything else out, though, in this game, based on what we've seen over the last 20 minutes or so. Coming on for Wahi is Charles Vonut, 27-year-old midfielder. So I think Nice will be pretty happy with this point and looking to shut up shop accordingly. But Marseille won't give up hope. Here goes Aubameyang chasing a ball down the left-hand side. He's gathered it in well. He's played it back to Madi. Now it's going to come here, is it, for Bellerdi? No, the ball's gone out of play for a throw-in, which Madi wants to take quickly, and he does so. Here's Leonardo Bellerdi. Moves it on to Pavard. Pavard just laying it off to Mason Greenwood. Greenwood fizzing a pass across to Medina. Midway inside the Nice half. Medina flighting one into the penalty area. It's headed away well back there by Nice. But it's come as far as Timothy Weah now. He plays it inside to Medina. Medina clipping a ball out wide onto the right. A volleyed cross in from the right-hand side. That's too close to Yvan Diouf. And the Nice goalkeeper, I'm sure, will take his time here as we now head towards the end of the second minute of 7 that have been added on by the fourth official. So 5 minutes or so for Marseille to somehow find themselves a winner here as they launch it forward now. It's chested down well there by Juma Bar. Hoiked forward unceremoniously by Abdi. Weah wins a header for Marseille. It's nodded down into midfield to Diop. Carlos looking to gather it in with his back to goal, but he's dispossessed. And now coming forward for Marseille here is Camisoko. Down the left-hand side is Madi. Madi, left-footed cross, finds its way to Medina. He swings in a ball to the back post. That's volleyed away by Abdi. And Carlos, can he gather it in? No, not quite. Although, is there going to be a chance here for Nice? No. Marseille just about keeping it alive. And Weah having to go back. Carlos going down under a challenge. The referee tells him to get to his feet. And now it's worked over to the left-hand side again with Maddy. Here's Medina now. Playing it inside now to Camisoko. Here's Weah now. Moving it on to Greenwood, wide on the right-hand side. Level with the edge of the Nice penalty area. Greenwood teasing a couple of Nice defenders. Still got it, Mason Greenwood. Shoots, left-footed! Oh, good save by Diouf. It's volleyed clear now by Juma Bar. And that was a really good piece of skill by Mason Greenwood on the edge of the penalty area, and a rifled low shot that Diouf had to watch all the way. And then Bar volleying clear, but here come Marseille again now. They're really, really pressing hard here, Habib Bey's men. Worked again to Greenwood on the right-hand side. Here's Weah now. Plays it back inside to Greenwood. Greenwood thinks about a cross. Stands up Diop. Plays it to his right again. Here's Timothy Weah now. Swings in across. Decent-looking ball. Bar wins another headed clearance. Nodded down by Balerdi to Maddy. Maddy now into the area. Left-footed cross. Blocked well there by Budash, I think it was. And Budash then only able to concede a throw-in. It's breathless stuff here in the final couple of minutes or so, as Marseille desperately in search of a winning goal. It's Facundo Medina now, who's going to take a throw-in. Launches it long into the penalty area. Headed up and away by Mendy this time. The ball's going to come here for Balerdi. Here's a shooting opportunity for Greenwood. And that's straight out the goalkeeper once again. It was a right-footed shot from Mason Greenwood from just outside the penalty area, curling towards goal. But again, good goalkeeping by Yvan Diouf. Watched it all the way. And just got his body behind the ball. More than happy just to fall on it in the end. As Nice just breathe a sigh of relief once more. But they've given the ball back to Marseille from the goal kick. It's been launched long. And now Marseille look to build again with Medina. He plays it outside to Camisoko. Here's Maddy. Back again to Medina. Just inside his own half. Finds a pass into midfield to Camisoko. Here's Balerdi with space in front of him to surge forward as Nice drop in. Here's Greenwood. Swings in across from deep with the left foot. Here comes Diouf again and takes it right at the top of its flight. Another excellent piece of goalkeeping by Yvan Diouf, who's really earned his money this evening. If it is to be a draw for Nice, they'll have plenty to thank their goalkeeper for. He's launched it long again, and well, again it's been won by Marseille. Greenwood though losing out this time, and here's Abdi surging down the left-hand side for Nice. They couldn't win it, could they, Nice? Surely not. Well, Greenwood, to his credit, tracked his man all the way, and he's won it back for Marseille. Mason Greenwood now, lovely piece of skill to turn away from three Nice players there, and he's going to have a free kick as well as Mason Greenwood is still about 10 yards or so inside his own half. Lovely little piece of skill from Mason Greenwood, a little pirouette and a roulette to get away from a couple of challenges there. There's Camisoko now, coming forward for Nice. Here's Abdelli, finds a pass out to Weah on the right-hand side. Now or never for Marseille, flicked on, it's going to come here to Maddy at the back post. Maddy, little nutmeg, tries to get a cross in, stabs it low, and the ball goes behind, and Marseille are going to have one last chance here. They've got a corner. Going down, holding his right leg there is Boudaoui, who produced a lovely last-ditch block there to just deny Maddy the chance to put a cross in. And funnily enough, Klaus on Maddy, it's absolutely extraordinary. As Maddy popped the ball through Jonathan Klaus's legs there, Klaus has made the exact same challenge that Maddy made on him up at the other end that resulted in the penalty. But the difference being that Maddy stayed on his feet because he'd nutmegged Klaus and could see that he was about to get to the byline and had a chance to cross. So he's almost too honest for his own good there, was Tajuddin Maddy. But anyway, it's a corner for Marseille. Rulli is up. Rulli actually wins the header. And it's still bouncing around there. Nodded away by Maddy. Launched back into the penalty area. It's bouncing around. The shot comes in from Højbjerg. He wants a handball. The ball's gone behind. Whoa, what's he going to give here, the referee? I think he wants to speak to the VAR. Huge drama here again, right at the death at the Stade Velodrome. It was Højbjerg who volleyed it towards goal, left-footed, I don't think they're going to get a penalty for that. It was Barr who had his back turned to the ball. It's deflected off his shoulder possibly, but my word, if this is a penalty, then Nice can consider themselves extremely hard done by. It's being checked by VAR. Oh my word, drama here. Yet the referee says nope, nothing doing, and he blows the final whistle, bringing to an end an absolutely breathless second half here at the Stade Vélodrome. Wow, where to begin? The first half was a fairly cagey affair, certainly from a Nice perspective. They just looked to sit in and frustrate. Marseille had the lion's share of the possession and the territory, but they couldn't break through. A couple of good chances falling to Arthur Vermeeren, and more than a couple actually to Leonardo Balerdi, the centre half. More on him shortly. But goalless at the interval. Marseille continued where they left off at the start of the second half, pushing and pushing and pushing. They eventually did break the deadlock on 66 minutes through their skipper, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, latching on to a lovely cross in from the right-hand side by Timothy Weah with a stooping header that beat the otherwise irrepressible Yvan Diouf in the Nice goal. And at that point, Marseille having a couple of chances to extend their lead, not taking them, and Nice, to their credit, they stuck in there. They made a couple of changes, Claude Puel, and they fought their way back into the game, and they're awarded a penalty when one of the Marseille substitutes, Tajuddin Mahdi, fouled Jonathan Klaus just inside the penalty area. And after a bit of a delay, up stepped El Yawahi with the most impudent Panenka penalty you'll ever see to bring Nice level with his 7th goal in 15 games since arriving on loan in January from Frankfurt. That was on 88 minutes, and you thought at that point that Nice probably had the draw in the bag, but no, Marseille kept pushing. Another unbelievable chance for Leonardo Balerdi, somehow contriving to head the ball wide from no more than a yard out. He could have had 4, maybe even 5 goals on the day, that's no exaggeration. But in the end, it's frustration again for Marseille. That 2-0 defeat to Lorient last weekend that ramped the pressure up on Habib Beye. This isn't going to do anything to help that, because they find themselves 4 points adrift of the Champions League places currently being held by Lyon and Lille, and of course PSG and Lens too. Can they make up the difference with 3 games remaining? Based on what I've seen tonight, I'm not so sure. They gave it everything, Marseille. You can't fault their character or their effort. They were just lacking a bit of quality in the final third. Greenwood made a big difference when he came on. He had a couple of chances. Nice as well probably could have equalised before they did through the substitute Khalil Boudash, who somehow headed over when the goal was beckoning as well. But my word, it's been an incredibly entertaining second half here at the Stade Vélodrome. Your archetypal game of 2 halves, really, after the more cagey affair that was the first half. But the upshot is, it's a point game for Nice, really. It's 2 points dropped for Marseille in their race to get back into the Champions League next season. The pressure is only going to grow now on Habib Beye. Let's see what Marseille can do in those final 3 games, but it does look as though they're going to have to settle for Europa League or possibly even Europa Conference League football next season. Looks as though that Champions League dream might just have died this evening. We shall see, but that's just about it from me. I've been Chris Bryant. This has been Marseille 1, Nice 1. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll see you again next time. For me, it's bye-bye for now. Have a good evening.